Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. I'm Eileen Wiviott. I'm the senior minister here. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are newly discovering this community, we are so grateful that you are with us. We are an inclusive and welcoming community seeking truth in love and striving to nurture the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with careful attention and tenderness. If you're joining us online, there are many links of connection in the description below the YouTube live stream, including the order of service, and service credits, ways of supporting our mission, and how to join our email newsletter list. If you're here in the sanctuary, we encourage you to use the QR code. It's on a sign just outside the sanctuary doors. It links to our digital order of service, or you can take a large print order of service. We also have hymnals for everyone that would like them right outside the doors there. Just to let you know, we have an inductive loop system for anyone wearing a hearing aid that is equipped with a T-coil. Your hearing aid should automatically connect if you enable the T-coil feature. For those who do not have a T-coil enabled hearing aid, we have receivers that can pick up the loop signal and you can listen through earphones. A couple of announcements. Our annual ornament making party and potluck is next week. Yes, lots of fun. You don't want to miss it. If you can bring finger foods to share or hors d'oeuvres or treats, that's great. And join in the fun of making ornaments for our tree, which will be here next week, and you can take some home for yours. Then on December 18th, we will have our Christmas pageant. We still have a few speaking parts open and need more shepherds and animals, so look for sign-ups in the newsletter or see Kathy Underwood after the service. Please join the adult faith formation class this Tuesday to discuss the 1619 project with Bob Medley, and on Tuesday, December 13th at 7 p.m. featuring Dr. Daniel Immerwahr. I hope I said that right. Bob Immerwahr, okay, from the Northwestern History Department discussing his book, How to Hide an Empire. Check the newsletter for details and to register. And now as we settle into our time of inspiration and reflection and celebration, I'm so pleased to introduce our guest, Melanie DeMore. Yes. I was going to say some things about you, but I guess I don't have to. You are in for a real treat today. Several of us enjoyed her concert last night. She's a vocal activist and songwriter with distinctive depth and richness that moves and inspires people of all ages and all walks of life. I know that you will find her soulful voice and energy as captivating and compelling as I do. Thank you for helping me welcome her. Welcome, Melanie.
Hey, friends. So we're going to start out with a song I wrote called Everybody Here Got a Seat at the Table. Can I see some head nodding? And some and you'll catch it. So here we go. Come on. Everybody here's got a seat at the table. Everybody everywhere, come on and sing that. Everybody here's got a seat at the table. Everybody everywhere, come on in. Now when you say everybody everywhere, come on in, give a little wag your head, like everybody. Here we go. Everybody here's got a seat at the table. Everybody everywhere, come on in. We're saying everybody here's got a seat at the table. Everybody everywhere, come on in, come on in, come on in. Sit on down, sit on down. Glad you're here. Stick around. Why? Because everybody here's got a seat at the table. Everybody everywhere, come on in. We're saying everybody here's got a seat at the table. Everybody everywhere, us and them, you and me. Everyone, A to Z. Why? Because everybody here's got a seat at the table. Everybody everywhere, come on in. We're saying everybody here's got a seat at the table. Everybody everywhere, come on in. Us and them, you and me. Everyone, A to Z. Why? Because everybody here's got a seat at the table. Everybody everywhere, come on in. We're saying everybody here's got a seat at the table. Everybody everywhere, come on. Harmony in. Yes!
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We acknowledge that the Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on the traditional homelands of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. In 1829, this land was recorded as being transferred to the local Potawatomi community, who had no choice but to sell their land to the U.S. government before being forcefully removed west of the Mississippi River. This land was then sold to white settlers. The Chicagoland area is now home to one of the largest and most diverse urban Native communities in the United States. The acknowledgement of this land's history is one small effort toward building long-term solidarity and with contemporary Indigenous communities. We name these realities with honor for all the ancestors, respect for our descendants, and gratitude for the land we use as sacred space. Please visit our website too under Land Acknowledgement to learn more about how we can deepen our relationships with our Indigenous siblings. We light our chalice, symbol of our living tradition, with the words of Sean Parker Dennison. Please read responsively the words on the screen and in the order of service after I begin. In wholeness, there is no competition between this light and the darkness which holds it. Both the light and the darkness are holy. We light our chalice, sorry. That's not in there, huh, Adam? Okay. Sorry. I'm going to keep reading for a little bit, then you're going to go, okay? We light our chalice not to defeat the darkness, but because for a time we need the gifts of flame, warmth and light to guide and help us in our endeavors. And when the time comes, we will embrace again the gentle dark which allows us rest. And so we kindle this light with awareness and gratitude for light and dark, and all that lies in between, each with its gifts, each with its beauty, each part of the sacred and necessary whole. Thank you. Please rise in body or spirit and join in saying the words of our historic and living covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Before we sing our opening hymn, I would like to invite you to turn to one another and offer a good morning greeting. For those of you participating from home, please greet one another in the chat if you haven't done so already. And please say hello to someone who you don't know well. And remain uplifted, if you will, to sing our hymn, Number 55, Dark of Winter. Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning. There, that's better.
Good morning.
Wow, great crowd. Great music. It's awesome. Nice to see you all. You ready for a story? Sure, we're ready for a story. This one is called Who is Afraid of the Dark? Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. Oh. If I turn it on, it works better. See? All right, here we go. There once was a child who got lost in the woods. And as night began to descend, the child became more and more frightened. And I'm sure any one of us would be frightened too in that situation. But what made this child more frightened was that he'd always been afraid of the dark. The child got so frightened, all he could do was sit down and cry. Soon he heard a voice say, "What's all that racket?" He looked down and saw a mole, squinting up at him. "I'm lost in the woods," he said, "and it's dark and I'm afraid." "Well, perhaps you could take your noisy crying farther down the path. I hate to come out of my dark hole, out of my warm, comfortable dark hole, and tell people to be quiet." From the darkness, he heard another voice. "Go back to your hole, Mr. Mole. I'll take care of this." The child looked up in the direction the voice was coming from, and he saw two glowing eyes. Before he could scream, there was a flutter of wings, and he saw that it was an owl, who said, "Please excuse Mr. Mole. He hates to come out of the nice dark hole for anything." And at this, the child burst out crying even harder than before, because who'd ever heard of a non-human speaking? "No need for that crying," said the owl. "If you just give me your address, I can guide you home." So deciding he had little to lose, the child choked back his tears and replied he'd be very grateful. and he gave the owl his address. So this strange pair headed on through the dark forest. And when his fear left him just a little bit, he looked around and began to notice things. At one point, he noticed a flower that he'd never seen before. "That," said the owl, "is an evening primrose. Did you know that there are some flowers that only bloom at night, like moonflowers? And of course, there are animals too who love the night and the darkness. Me, for example, I love the dark. In the daytime, the light hurts my eyes, so I have to go to my tree and sleep." The child replied, "Well, I like the daytime. I can see the ball to kick it, and I like the hot sun on the beach. When the dark isn't scary, well, it's a little boring." Just then, there was another fluttering, yes, and squeaking around the heads. And it took this child just a few seconds to figure out what it was, and he shrieked. Can anybody guess what it might be? He started flailing his arms around, trying to chase it away. A bat. The shape backed away, and hovering just out of reach, he said, "Excuse me, that's just my way of saying hello." "Well, hello to you too, Mr. Bat," said the owl. "Weren't you trying to drink our blood?" asked the child. "No, but I've been eating lots of yummy insects. Who would be biting you if I hadn't been around?" Anyway, I couldn't help overhearing that you had said that the dark was boring. Let me show you something really exciting. The group went off the path and came out into a dark beach. The child gazed out at the beach, lit very gently by the moonlight, and he thought, "This certainly is beautiful, even in the dark. But I wouldn't call this exciting." And just then there was movement in the sand, like a little bubble rising up. And then another little bubble, then another little bubble. And pretty soon it looked like the whole sand was boiling. Yeah, and then out of the bubble came a little round shape. What do you think it was? A crab? Good guess. A mouse? Another good guess. No, it was hundreds of baby turtles. Has anyone ever seen that? I've never seen it. It'd be so cool. "When baby sea turtles hatch," said the owl, "they need to find their way to the water, and they almost always do this at night, because to find the water, they need to follow the moon and the starlight." Yeah. You know who else loves the darkness? Besides all the nighttime plants and animals, the moon and the stars. That's when they can really shine. After what seemed like a very short time, the child and owl left the forest and walked down a street that the child recognized as his very own. He was very happy and relieved, but a little sad to say goodbye to the owl. He went into his home and, being extremely tired, got ready for bed right away. And as a matter of habit, he bent down to turn on his nightlight that he always kept glowing. And before his fingers could touch the switch, he kind of smiled and pulled his hand away. He got in his bed, pulled up the covers, and let the comforting arms of darkness lull him to sleep. The end.
was looking at the moon last night and just mesmerized. Anybody else look at the moon last night? It was so bright and beautiful. Each Sunday we hold space for the joys and the sorrows of those that are gathered here and those that are joining us online, honoring the struggles and the triumphs, the brokenness and the wholeness that is woven into the human experience. If you have a joy or a sorrow that you'd like shared with the community out loud, you can write it in this book, which is found at the back table there. You can send me an email, or you can fill out the online Google form found on the homepage of our website. These are the joys and sorrows that have been shared for today. A sorrow from Cheryl Mounts and Carla Williams. They are mourning the passing of their good friend, Gary. He was a wonderful friend and neighbor of Carla's parents, and he will be missed. Kristen Lems is mourning the great feminist filmmaker Julia Reichert, whose films changed the landscape, including American Factory, Growing Up Female, just to name a few. And Elaine Siegel is mourning the sudden passing of their beloved friend, Tom Hinsley. Did I say that right, Elaine? Hinsley? Hinesley, thank you. Of a heart attack shortly after Thanksgiving. A memorial service is planned in the spring in the Bloomington, Indiana UU congregation. And finally, new UCE member Jane Hampson's husband, Florin Burka, passed away from cancer on December 1st. He will be terribly missed. So much loss today, friends. And yet we know that these are not the only sorrows, and we know that there are many joys in our hearts too today. We hold all of these together in the practice of beloved community. And so I invite you to come forward now to light a candle if there is something on your heart that you would like to recognize but don't want to speak it aloud. Please come together, come forward now. Thank you. And if you would like a basket of candles to be brought to you, please raise your hand and we'll bring you candles to light. Please join me in saying, for these joys we give our thanks, for these sorrows we give our love. And now in the spirit of prayer and meditation, source of life, love and light, be with us in our sorrows and our grief. Sustain us through the long nights of our souls, so that we can awaken to greater compassion and possibility, even when it seems that all might be lost. Help us to remain steadfast in our commitments to one another. Give us the capacity to love deeply. Love this life, this beautiful earth, and all of life's creation. May we recognize the spark of the divine in each of us so that we never give up on one another. Guide us to greater courage, openness, and healing. Lead us to our highest collective good. Amen, and blessed be.
Shine on me, oh shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me, oh shine on me, yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Oh, lift me up. Yes, harmony is good. Me up. Let the light from the lighthouse lift me up. Oh, lift me up. Yes, lift me up. Let the light from the lighthouse lift me up. Please hold me close. Yes, hold me close. Let the light from the lighthouse hold me close. Oh, hold me close. Yes, hold me close. Let the light from the lighthouse hold me close. Shine, shine on me. Yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse what? Shine on me. Oh, shine on me. Yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me.
Just to acknowledge that today and all in December, we are this is an all ages service, so we don't have normally our children would head downstairs now, but we got good stuff all month, so you don't want to miss any of it in here. This is the time in our service when we do the offering, and I have a special description today. We're giving half of our loose plate all month to the Evanston Reparations Community Fund, which, yes, thank you for clapping for that. The purpose of this fund is to directly benefit Evanston's Black community and to heal racism and address the harm caused by discriminatory practices. And grants from this fund will support Evanston's Black residents by addressing issues such as home retention, education, business development, health, and culture. Many of you will remember that we voted as a congregation in May to support national and local reparations efforts. You probably also know that Evanston is the first city in the United States to acknowledge harm and pay reparations since Reconstruction. And I'll tell you this, that the country and the world are watching Evanston, and it is a privilege and an honor as a faith community to be in support of the reparations efforts. In June, I stood with faith leaders of predominantly white congregations to join our efforts and pledge our commitment to supporting Evanston's historic efforts towards reparation, reconciliation, and repair. We promise to work within our congregations to promote financial support as well as relational and spiritual healing. The relational work is happening in a number of ways, and it will be ongoing, including Solidarity Circle conversations on race with Second Baptist Church and plans for interfaith racial justice tours and community conversations. More to come on that. Our efforts as a congregation to contribute financially to the Evanston Reparations Community Fund are multi-pronged. So we'll contribute from our shared plate every Sunday in December. Half of what we collect will go to the Reparations Fund. And exciting news, there'll be a matching grant from the Endowment Fund that the Endowment Fund has granted us for $20,000 to be matched by members of the congregation able to commit to a one-time giving. Then the third way that we're encouraging people to contribute is by going directly to the fund, and if a one-time gift is too much but you'd want to contribute ongoing, consider doing a monthly gift of $10 or $20 or $30 for a period of 3 to 5 years. That's something to consider. So I want to be clear that the Evanston Reparations Community Fund is distinct from the cannabis tax money that is being used for housing grants. I just want to be very clear. That is one piece of the reparations efforts. The Evanston Reparations Community Fund is intended to be a perpetual resource for Evanston's Black community to complement the tax revenue stream and to ensure that funding is available for reparations once those tax revenues are no longer available. You each got a card on your chair that has lots and lots more information, helps you understand how to give, and there's a table in the back. Carla Williams will be there to answer questions about how to give. But I do want to just encourage anybody that would like to give a one-time gift to get us to that matching fund. We're already more than halfway there, which is exciting. Yeah, so I know we're going to get there, and we want to try to get there by the beginning of January, so that on January 15th, when we have our Interfaith Martin Luther King Day service, it's going to be at Faith Temple Church of God this year. And we want to be able to announce how much the whole interfaith community has raised in support of reparations so far. So hope you can let me know. You can send me an email. You can click on that QR code to know how to contribute to that matching fund. So, without further ado, we will gather our shared plate and invite the ushers to come forward now. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy. Thank you for your generosity.
So, hi. And so, back, I was living in Taos, New Mexico. And this was at the time, anybody remember the harmonic convergence? Yeah, okay. So this was a thing that was happening. And there are places on the planet that are places that are considered places of earth energy. Machu Picchu, the Great Pyramid, and Taos, New Mexico happens to be one of those places. Me, I'm of a belief that wherever there are folks who just get that they are connected to the planet, that there is a place of earth power. You have it here. This is one of those places. Wherever you go when your heart is true and steady, that place becomes an altar. And that energy emanates out like this. Because we live in a world, if you try to do this, you're going to be overwhelmed. But right here where you are, in terms of you doing your reparations, all of those things, it's it, you are generating your love and your conscious energy out like this. So, I'm there in Taos, Mexico, at a place they call Spiral Lake. This is the sun is coming up on the day of the harmonic convergence. And you know, Taos is one of those places that is just, first of all, I wake up every day when I live there and I go, another beautiful day in Taos, Mexico. That certain color blue, you know, and Taos is one of those places where people go there and they say, oh, I went to the Indian reservation there. I said, no. They said, yeah, I went there. I said, no, if you went to the Pueblo, the people there have always been there. It's not a reservation. It's where they've always been. And they are there. And at one point they lost one of their sacred places called Blue Lake, but they got it back in the 70s. So when you are there, you are on Tewa land. And so they kind of got their things lined up, you know what I'm saying? So here we are at harmonic convergence. I'm down at Spiral Lake because it's an old dry arroyo, and if you're standing up on a hill, it's a spiral. These are the sort of things that happen in Mexico all the time. Yeah. The place is like so full of magic, and I was born and raised in the South Bronx in New York, so I'm like not all about that. And I got there, and a friend of mine told me, they said, I'm going to take you up to Paradise Peak, and I'm like, okay. I hadn't been there very long. I said, so you're going to be able to see where the earth energy goes. I'm like, I'm from the South Bronx. Really? Right? So I get up there, and you can literally see, because it's covered in aspens, and aspens grow bone straight. Bam! And I could literally stand there at the beginning of the trail, and you could see where there would be curly aspens, and it would be doing this and all that, and you could see it. And it's all along that earth energy tower. I said, well, okay, something's going on here. I got this. So the morning of the harmonic convergence, crystal blue, really cold, absolutely gorgeous, all kinds of people out there and everything. And there's a lot of the Tewa folks are out there, and Spanish folks, and everybody else is all out there. Now, I am not a person that uses mind-altering anything. So I'm standing there and all these people, it's gorgeous, there's drumming and everything going on. And all of a sudden, the whole sky all around me gets to this beautiful, dark, ebony black. I'm standing there, I'm like, anybody else seeing this, or is it just me? And I'm looking around, and there's this ebony, shiny, beautiful black sky, and all of these little, like a grid of lights. I'm not kidding. And there are people as far as you could see. And this grid, this light is going through the hearts of all of these people. I'm like standing there going, okay, wait, what's going on here? And there were places in this grid where all along it there might have been frayed edges, but nowhere in the grid was it broken. I'm like, okay, what's happening? And I could see in places where there was a little frayness, a little like weakness, that there were other places where sending that energy to that, so that you saw this golden light going through hearts as far as you could see. Just a shimmering light and sending energy out to support the little weak, frayed places. As far as I could see, and I thought, oh, this is what the reality is. And the fact that there was no place where it was broken. We're kind of in that place in this world, that we forget our connectedness to each other. And that when we have that remembrance of knowing that even when we cannot hold up our own hands, that there is something that is holding us up. That was that thing in those little weak, frayedy spots where you just, and all of a sudden there'd be a strengthening of the grid. And you know how when you're feeling really bad and stuff and you get all jammed up and jelly tight and things are like this, and then someone says something or does something and you just go, because you can feel yourself again. This is what I saw. And then after what seemed like for a long, long time, the blue sky, I came back into that reality. But ever since then, I am completely aware of that grid all the time. And when you look around, try to think of it. Right here we are. That golden thread going through every single one of our hearts. And if you think about it, you can see it. You can absolutely see just that. And realizing that we are indelibly connected to each other, no matter what we think. And on that morning of the harmonic convergence, when I saw that, and when it came back and everybody else was there, I was just looking around And what was really amazing is that I could see the grid through all the people. I could see the grid through the sacred mountain. I could see the grid in the spiral lake. I could see the grid in the person who always walked, everybody thought was homeless in Taos, but really wasn't, and could walk in through the streets. And I would see her, and I would see her going through that grid. And I could see that light going through when I would go to my favorite breakfast place and the person who served me. I could see that light in that grid in the food. I could hear that light in every song. And I know about those songs and the medicine of song. And I know that without that song medicine and that light that my mom and daddy shine through me, that I would not be here. I know that light. And my mama would say to me, you know, baby, listen, when things get really, really hard, you just got to sing something. That's it. And I'd start every day. I look in the mirror, and I'm going to give you a job now. I'm going to give you a job. Nod your head. Go, Now, when you go in the morning, you know you're in there, I'm giving you a job. Everybody has to do it. Everybody take your hands like this. Take your hand like this. Do this. In ASL, as you know, it is a sign for beautiful. Now, here's your job. And this is not an easy job. When you look in the mirror in the morning, you're in there, you're in your jammies, you know, toothpaste is dribbling down your face, you know, you're just a little sleep in your eye and everything. You're going to do this. You're going to look in your own eyes. Let's practice. Look in your own eyes. Do this. You're going to do this, and then you're going to say out loud into your own eyes, beautiful. Let's practice. Beautiful. Now, here's the thing. Because most of us don't believe that about ourselves, we'll do this. Beautiful. So you got to practice. Because if you can see that in your own eyes, you'll be able to see that in everybody else all around you. So I decide each morning. I do that, and then I decide, who am I going to hold up in song today? How am I going to walk through this day and generate that light? Because it ain't easy being greasy on this planet. We call Earth people. It ain't easy to do. You know, remaining hopeful, doing all, is not easy. So you got to practice. So you're going to wake up and you're going to do that. And then you're going to decide, who am I going to hold up in song and in light today? And pretty much everybody on the planet needs that. But if you walk out into the world with that intention, stuff changes. Things happen. So we're going to do a song called Every Day When I Wake Up. And it's a call and response. And it goes like this. Every day when I wake up, repeat. Every day when I wake, yes, every day when I wake, your turn. Every day when I wake up, I look to the sun. I look to the sun. And let my light shine. I say every day when I wake up. Every day when I wake up. Yep, every day when I wake up. I look to the sun. I look to the sun. And let my light shine. I said every day when I wake up. Yep, every day when I wake up. I look to the sun. I look to the sun. And let my light shine. I said every day when I wake up. Yep, every day when I wake up. I look to the sun. I look to the sun. And let my light shine. I say every day when I wake up. Yep, every day when I wake up. I look to the sun. I look to the sun. I look to the sun. And let my light, harmony, shine. Every day. just to know that that's how you walk out in the world. And the world going to try to make you not shine. And the world is going to try to turn you away from what you know to be true in your heart. And you're all collecting for reparations. Just a little bit of history. My father, who passed away in 2014, my daddy died in 2014. He was only born 60 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. That's how close that is. And here, my father, born and raised in South Carolina. My grandfather was a minister. My father was the oldest boy of 14 children. And my granddaddy being a minister, my grandfather being a minister. And they were living in the Deep South. And my grandma, when this would happen, would pull all the kids to the back of the shack. And my granddaddy would be standing there in the front of the shack with all these people sitting on horses and white hoods and crosses, because they didn't like what he was telling his people. And my daddy and my Uncle AC would run and sneak, look out, and would see these men sitting there on this thing with these hoods and everything, and my grandfather standing out there. And with all of that, my father didn't have a hating bone in his body. And my mama used to say to people, things would happen to me, and I'd just come home and I'd be like, Mama, why did that person spit in my face? Why? And I hate all people that look like that. My mama said, that's an individual person. I said, if you go around hating everybody that looks like them, that's what they do to us. Why are you going to do that? They cannot get to who you truly are. So you got a light, you got a thing inside of you that will shine no matter what. And your job is to not let that light be put out. Because everything in the world is going to try to do that. My mama died when she was 43 years old. And I am the oldest of 5. First funeral I ever sang at was my mother's when I was 19. And people say, how could you do that? I said, what else was I going to do? It's my gift. So you got to find your gift and use that. And all of these things that happen, they never let anything get in the way of their love and their grace. I don't know how they did it. When my dad, he joined the Army, he didn't like it at all. But he thought it was the only way of getting us out of the South Bronx. We got to save our kids. So my mom and daddy decided to do that. When my father joined the Army, he joined into the last all-colored unit before the Army was desegregated. 2 tours in Vietnam, Korea. And he was a man of peace. He never, I don't know how he did it, because all kinds of stuff happened to him and my mother as well. And they never crossed over into that line of anger and hate. Never. And when you're a kid growing up and stuff is happening to you, you just want to to hold on and to remember that you're a part of that shimmering light, and that, again, it doesn't break, and things will try to break that. But we, because we are awake and conscious, we can strengthen those things. And whenever I feel myself getting a little raggedy or something, I would just think about my mom and daddy and my people and all of my ancestors, because I am here. I am here. Some of my students would say, Mr. Moore, we don't talk about that. We don't want to talk about slavery and black history. I said, baby, because they feel shame. And I said, honey, do you know how strong your people have to be for you to be sitting up in here messing with me in my class? How strong were your ancestors? You're here, aren't you? You're here. Their lessons, their trials, their songs, all of those things have made it so you can be here. And I remember hearing some of those old songs and just What is that? What is it that they're saying, you know? I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready. Ready to put on my long white robe. Yes, ready to put on my long white robe. That whole idea of knowing that what is happening on this physical thing don't mean nothing because I know that I will be free. You hear those songs and you think about that and you're like, okay, all this stuff that is happening, that part of your spirit that's connected to that grid that says what is happening here is not the reality. What is happening here is the reality. Can't do nothing. Whatever, you can do all of that stuff, but like my mama said, they can't get into here. That's that grid. That's that grid. And if you think about every time that you take a breath in and take a breath out, that you are breathing in light. And that you have the choice. You may either choose to breathe in and breathe out, or you can choose to hold your breath. But you have a choice. And here we are in the time of the solstice and the light and the darkness, and you realize that you cannot see the stars without the dark. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? That they depend on each other. The light and the dark depend on each other. It's like everything else in the world. We cannot exist without each other. Nod your head. We cannot exist without each other. Nothing can change without each and every single one of us. In what's going on in this country, you're trying to make a change here in your congregation. Because we realize with supremacy, all those things cannot change without all of us. It just can't. And so we must be partners with each other. We must be partners with each other. And we got to burn bright, people. We just got to burn bright. And when you're sitting there and you're feeling all jammed up and jelly tight and everything is just wrong and you're just not feeling right, just close your eyes and see that grid. And put yourself in the center and see that grid. See this energy going out and seeing all the energy coming in right through you. Can you feel it? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. You know that this little light, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, you know I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. How about here, deep down in my heart, you know that deep down in my heart, I'm gonna let it shine. Deep down in my heart, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. How about here? This little light of mine, you know that this little light, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Last time we're gonna take it here. This little light of mine. Come on, baby. I'm gonna let it shine. You know that this little light, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. One more time, one more time. This little light, you know that this little light, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it, come on, come on, come on. Let it, oh, let it shine.
Told you she was good. Woo! As we extinguish our chalice, please join in saying the words on our screen by the Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Melanie's going to lead us in our closing hymn.
This song, written by my dear friend, Kate Munger, founder of the Threshold Choirs. Yes, if you do not know, go to thresholdchoir.org, and members of Threshold will come to your house, the hospital, or hospice, and sing for your loved ones. And if you need somebody to come every day for 6 months, they will come. And it costs you nothing. So this song we're going to close with, I love it. It's one of my favorite songs by Kate. And you'll catch it. Goes like this. And I want you to, you can kind of look around, because we'll say you, I, and we. Goes like this. You are not alone. I am here beside you. You are not alone. I am here now. Let's try that. Look around, right? You are not alone. I am here beside you. You are not alone. I am here now. You are not alone. I am here beside you. You are not alone. I am here now. I am not alone, 'cause you are here beside me. I am not alone. You are here now. I am not alone. You are here beside me. I am not alone. You are here now. We are not alone. We are here together. We are not alone. We are here now. We are not alone. We are here together. We are not alone. We are here now. We are not alone. We are here together. Let me see some arms. We are not alone. We are here now. We are not alone. We are here together. We are not alone. We are here now. We are not. alone. We are here together. We are not alone. We are here now.
May we carry this message of profound and beautiful interconnection that is the light of truth. May we carry it into our lives now and always. May all beings know peace. May all beings be well. Go in peace. Thank you.